I took no initiative to inform anyone. But when I was asked by a representative of this committee to report my experience, I felt that I had to tell the truth. I could not keep silent.
That, of course, is Anita Hill back in 1991 testifying that then Supreme Court nominee Clarence Thomas had sexually harassed her. Clarence Thomas was later confirmed by the U.S. Senate in a narrow 52-48 vote. Well, now 27 years later, another Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, facing a sexual misconduct allegation of his own. According to a report in the New Yorker magazine, the claim by an anonymous woman go back to the early 1980s when Judge Kavanaugh was still a high school student. The woman alleged that during an encounter at a party, Kavanaugh held her down and that he attempted to force himself on her. The article continuing, and that Kavanaugh covered her mouth with his hand. The Trump nominee, whose confirmation vote is scheduled for the upcoming week, released this statement in response, quote, "I categorically and unequivocally deny this allegation. I did not do this back in high school or at any time." Joining me now is Scott Detrow. He's a congressional correspondent for NPR, and Rebecca LeGrand is a partner at LeGrand Law. I want to play a little bit of tape here from Jane Mayer, who co-authored that piece for the New Yorker magazine, talking about the author of that memo that Senator Dianne Feinstein took to enter into the record there in the Senate. Let's take a listen to what she had to say last night to my colleague Chris Hayes.
Sure.
This is not somebody who was smoked out by people trying to sort of bring Kavanaugh down. This is someone who just wanted, she was troubled by what she knew. She felt she had information that she thought was important that she wanted to share with the authorities.
Rebecca LeGrand, I just want to get your reaction to this. Of course, we had the public hearing, the 3 days of public hearings with Judge Kavanaugh. There was a closed session part of that hearing as well. And then we got this kind of cryptic statement from Senator Feinstein's office well after that hearing concluded. Your reaction to this, how does this change the course of this, do you think?
You know, we don't know. It may not change the course of things. It's a difficult situation. The woman, in this case, unlike Anita Hill, is not willing to go public, and you can certainly understand why. You can see what Anita Hill went through when she came forward. So the woman who had submitted the letter here has chosen not to go public. That means there's probably a lot, not a lot that can be found out, can be investigated, can be publicly reviewed. I will say, if the whole process here of reviewing Kavanaugh's credentials and documents and history had not been forced into such a compressed timeline, there might be ways to address this that were both more conscientious and humane to everyone involved. But given the timeline I expect the Republicans are going to be pushing for, I don't know how much we'll get to find out about the real facts here before a decision is made.
Rebecca, last question to you here. You've got Scott talking about the speed with which all of this has happened. It struck me as I saw this letter come out yesterday, 65 individuals who knew, women who knew Brett Kavanaugh when he was a high school student. I should say he went to an all-boys high school in Washington, D.C. Women who knew him then coming out with this letter writing, "For the entire time we have known Brett Kavanaugh, he's behaved honorably and treated women with respect. We strongly believe it's important to convey this information to the committee at this time." Just struck me that came out very quickly here, lined up those 65 women very quickly to sign that letter. What does that say to you about this process, the degree to which ducks have been placed in a row here?
Right. There are certainly reasons to suspect that perhaps Judge Kavanaugh and the Republicans knew this was coming, but we don't know for sure. A number of the people who signed the letter have said, no, you know, we only heard about this late Thursday night, so we don't know for sure. But it does seem that this did not seem to be a surprise entirely to Judge Kavanaugh's supporters. And the frustrating thing for me as an attorney and a citizen who's going to potentially have my life for decades affected by Judge Kavanaugh is there's just so many questions that I fear we're not going to get answered because the process is being so rushed.
My thanks to both of you. Rebecca LeGrand, my thanks to Scott Detrow of NPR as well. And I just want to note here on the way out, NBC News has not independently confirmed that story I cited in the New Yorker magazine. The FBI says that while this is in the Kavanaugh file, again, for senators to review, the FBI is not launching an investigation. Again, my thanks to Scott Detrow and Rebecca LeGrand.